Need a beat.
618 on TSN 690. Well, it's not 618 yet. I'm just rounding up. Hope that's okay. We're here till 8 o'clock. It's Game Points with Matthew Ross. TSN Matthew on Twitter.com. Only one Matthew on the TSN family on Twitter, by the way.
You're the fake TSN Matthew.
Really?
When it comes to the real TSN Matthew, we know who that is down the 401 highway off the...
He is our next guest. You can listen to him on Macko and Cauz weekday mornings at 9 a.m. on TSN 1050 when in the Toronto area, or online, I guess. You can also check him out on CFL.ca or on Twitter.com/M as in Matthew, Cauz, CAUZ56. It is Matt Cauz. What's up? What's going
on, guys?
Not much, you.
You know what? I like the intro because at one point you're being very nice and you're giving all the pertinent information, and then, you're also very snarky as well. It's a good little balance you got going on there.
Well, I feel like that's almost a microcosm of your personality, isn't it? I mean, you're kind of like that, too.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I give if I take if. And let's face it, a lot of times I'm a jerk, but I'm allowed to be because this is sports. We don't have to be serious all the time.
That's fair. That's fair. Now, Brandon London of the Owls is also in studio here, so you can, say hello.
Hey, Brandon, how you doing?
I'm doing just fine. How about yourself, man?
I got to tell you, I just got back from Iceland about an hour ago. I've been in Iceland since Wednesday on a stag. That country is nutty.
Oh,
wow.
Nutty as in, like, what were you partying?
In a good way.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I like good nutty. Good nutty. Explain.
Yeah,
Tell us more. Tell us more.
First off, it doesn't get dark there. It literally, at 5 in the morning, at 3 in the morning, it looks like it's about 7 p.m. People just party like crazy there. I went on glaciers. We were on snowmobiles in July. Very odd.
Wow. So you say it doesn't get dark then, huh?
It does not get dark, and everyone's really nice and likes to party.
I heard it is. I heard it is an incredible destination for the ladies to go check out clubs and things like that.
Oh yeah, it's just ridiculous. So it was me and 10 friends. We're all like 38 years old. We did pretty good considering our age. It was a hell of a time, but I was able to come back, and I've just been scanning the stories. And tough times right now for both the Argonauts and the Alouettes. I'm just checking out.
You want to throw the Blue Jays in there too, or
Maple Leafs too, maybe.
The Blue Jays are just so depressing. Can you remember a team that went from being so relevant to so irrelevant in such a short period of time? Most people in the States, predicted, playoffs. Everyone thought at least over 500. There's only a couple guys. I know there was only a couple from ESPN that had Toronto in fourth, but the team doesn't mean anything right now to this city. And the shame of it is Toronto's actually had some really good crowds and really, come out and supported the team. But everything that could go wrong has gone wrong, beyond the bullpen. And the crazy part is there going to be 4 All-Stars on this Blue Jays team? It's a weird year.
All right, Matt, let's get back to the CFL. I know you were away for a little bit. What story?
You're going to have to get me caught up. You know what's funny is my last article was on, I was looking back at the Montreal start to the season, and my main point was I'm not going to do a knee-jerk reaction because that's usually what I like to do. But every time you throw dirt on Calvillo and the team, Calvillo will put up another 5,000-yard season. But I guess the odd thing is, especially after the first 2 games against Winnipeg, was just the offensive line not gelling, so many sacks on Calvillo. And this is a talented bunch. It's not like there's a bunch of new offensive linemen trying to, get in sort of a rhythm with each other. These guys all know one another. And so I have to say it's very curious offensively how I assume Montreal would be much further along. I'm assuming a lot of it's just new coaching staff. We saw with the Argonauts last year, it took them a while to get it together. Of course, they have their own issues, but yeah, it's been an odd first part of the season.
All right, Matt. Now, where do we go from here? In other words, who would you pick to turn things around quicker?
Yeah. That's a tough question.
Probably Toronto because of the more experienced coaching staff. Would you say maybe?
Yeah, you know what? You would have to go that way just because you're right. It is for Hawkins in Montreal. I think the learning curve is certainly a lot more. I think the problem with Toronto, we talked about this before, they have, I think, 3 starters from last year's squad on it, and you can see it every week. There are so many defensive breakdowns going on. Guys wide open. Durant had a big game against Toronto. Henry Burris had a great game. Everyone's having a great game against Toronto. Right now, that's it's funny. All the disappointment we have in Montreal offensively, which I think most of us agree that it'll get turned around. It's the exact same thing in Toronto, where defensively the team has not been on sync at all.
And what do you think of the naming of the new Hamilton Stadium after the Tim Hortons franchise, who's now purchased the rights?
It makes complete sense. Have you been to Hamilton? The worst thing you can ever do is ask for directions and someone tells you it's next to a Tim Hortons. That's not going to help. You know what? Why not Tim Hortons? Is there anything more Canadian?
Started in Hamilton.
What's that?
It started in Hamilton.
Yeah, exactly. And let's face it, most stadiums have just horrible names. Rogers Center. Everyone still calls it Skydome. Or, the Phoenix Coyotes, they have, like Quicken Loans Arena. So I'm fine with it being Tim Hortons. I just, I think like a lot of people, are just throwing away this season for Hamilton and just trying to forget about it. And nothing against Guelph, but it does feel odd that the team is on the road for the entire season. But, hey, good on them for beating Winnipeg the other day.
Have you been to that stadium in Guelph before?
When I used to do McMaster football games, it's nice. It's a nice, quaint little stadium, but it's not big enough for the professional level. And I mean, we can only speculate how much money they must be losing there this year doing it, but. I mean, they were in such a unique situation. I could sort of understand why they're in this predicament, but there's really not much they can do. They're making the best of a bad situation, but it's not a very good situation.
I agree with you, and I don't think that Guelph place does them any justice because anytime I go play Hamilton, which I've never won at, was it Ivor Wynn Stadium? I never won there preseason anything. I'm amped up to play the Hamilton Tiger Cats, but I'm also amped up to go against the Hamilton fans. Like they're like the Oakland Raiders. They're like the Oakland Raider fans. Like they'll boo you, they'll yell at you, everything.
Oh, you know what? Absolutely. It's part of the experience. I remember, when I was younger, going to a game when Doug Flutie was the quarterback, and they would be beating Hamilton like 42-3. So the crowd would just start yelling, "Leafs suck," because it's all they could do. Hey, right. Brandon, let me throw it around to you. I mean, just as a professional, how hard would it be to have to deal with this, playing all the games on the road? There's one thing about you guys is everything is about routine. This would have to just mess with your schedule.
Yes, it definitely does, but as a professional, there's nothing you can use that you can use that's going to let you try and use any type of excuse. Football's still football. The field's still going to be the same distance, all that. You can't look for an excuse, but like you said, having some sort of structure to you and stuff, that helps tremendously. But you got a guy like Henry Burris, running that offense and being the veteran of that team. He's not going to let them think about, what stadium they play in. They're just going to go out and try and win games just like anybody else.
Now, Matt, in terms of the old Ivor win, what are they going to miss from there? Was there any positive elements from that stadium?
The mice.
You know what I liked about the stadium? I mean, let's face it, we could sit here and make fun of it all day and then make fun of Barton Street and all the other lovely things. But what I liked about the stadium was it really did feel like it had that real community feel because, you're driving around in the little neighborhood and then suddenly a stadium just suddenly appears. And it wasn't right off of the highway or in the middle of an entertainment complex like the ACC is. It was just, in the middle of all these homes. And it was can I say it was quaint and not mean it to be? I'm not trying to be demeaning. It really was just this pretty little environment that I always dug every time when I was calling McMaster games back in the day.
All right. So what are you going to do now that you're back? What's going to be the topic for you on CFL.ca?
You know what? I PVR'd every game from the past weekend. I'm going to sit and just sort of comb. Basically, I'm just going to comb through them, read headlines. Usually, when it comes to me with a column, all I do is just keep looking for that one story, that one thing, that I kind of find interesting. Whether it's week 1, it was looking back at John Cornish's running day, and then the last article about what's wrong with Montreal, and so it really in the next 48 hours, I'll have something figured out. But
all right. So hold on here. So Brandon, what I'm thinking? I'm not sure when you guys are in Toronto to play the Argos, but I'm thinking that unless Matt's at his, cottage, sitting by the lake with a, glass of Chardonnay, but
that
no.
sounds awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty good, right? Unless that's happening, you should probably have Matt on your BrandonLondonTV.com show. I'm thinking, you guys. Yes, I sense some chemistry here.
We should definitely. The guy. You're a funny guy, man. You're a really funny guy. Like, you're very lively, man. So we could definitely try to get something going there.
That date, by the way, Tuesday, September 3rd,
yeah.
Week 10, Montreal in Toronto. I looked it up.
Tuesday.
Using the internet.
Wow, that's a great slot the Argos have.
That's every team always has that one random Tuesday game. It's one thing I like about the CFL. Every day of the week, there is a chance there'll be a football game on.
Yep, that's fair. He
it's
is
like the boring, predictable NFL where you always know.
tsn.ca/Toronto for TSN 1050, of course, and mcauz56 on Twitter.com. Macko and Cauz, 9 a.m. on the regular Monday to Friday schedule. Matt, thanks so much for chiming in. Appreciate it.
Hey, not a problem. Actually, one last thing.
Yeah.
Me and Bob are taking over the morning show next week.
Oh, beautiful.
So I just got back from Iceland, and I got to be up at 4 a.m. Tomorrow is going to stink.
Yeah, that doesn't sound so good. 6 a.m. is the start?
No, 5:30. The show starts 5:39. Basically, what I'm saying is there's no point listening because it's basically going to be me going, I didn't hear about that. What happened? That's basically going to be me for 3.5 hours.
And very quickly here, Matt, we can actually watch you on TSN2 from 7 to 8 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Yeah, that's right. I might still have a mustache. I always have a tradition.
Oh, you got to keep the stash. Come on. We got George Pauros now in this city, so you got to rock the mustache.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, well, I always grow a mustache for every stag. I'll keep it on Monday. I'm just going to tell you right now, this mustache is woman repellent.
All right. On that note, thanks, Matt.
Take care.
There you go. That's the irreverent Matt Cauz from TSN 1050. It is Game Points here on TSN 690. Other side of the break, the Alouettes' Scooter Berry will join us next.